You lie so still that you can almost hear the seconds losing their way inside your body. Somewhere under your ribs, a clock once whispered your age in tiny, careful ticks, but tonight you listen for the hush between them. You feel your breath drift out, soft and slow, like mist rising from a pond before dawn. There is no hurry here, no schedule clinging to your skin, only the quiet wonder of what happens when each second forgets where to go. You imagine the numbers on your wristwatch slipping off their circle, tumbling weightless into a sky with no morning, no night, only a soft, endless dusk, where moments rest like dew on blades of grass. You picture yourself lying there, uncounted, a single heartbeat stretching into an hour folding itself into a single breath. Inside you, time usually keeps order. Your blood obeys its pulse, your bones grow older by secret degrees. Tiny cells divide like dancers keeping step. But here, wrapped in your blanket of silence, you sense how fragile it all is, how seconds are not carved in stone, but carried in fragile glass jars, easily tipped and spilled. A second is nothing more than light and vibration, an agreement between atoms and minds. Once, people watched shadows crawl across sundials, watched sand slip through glass, watched the sun measure the day and the moon the night. Now you lie beneath these same ancient keepers, feeling their pull loosen, wondering if they ever truly cared for your hours at all. Your thoughts wander to distant clocks, ticking in empty kitchens, blinking on forgotten microwaves, humming in phone screens dimmed beside pillows. So many clocks, counting, and yet here you are, your own clock unwound, listening to the hush beneath it. Imagine a place where time does not drip forward in a single stream, but gathers in beads, along the edges of your mind, each beat a memory, a possibility, a wish. Without the seconds to chase each other forward, your memories blur their borders. What happened a minute ago, an hour ago, a lifetime ago? It all feels soft, like mist woven with starlight. Your pulse slows as you think about how the universe keeps time, too. Out there, a star pulses, marking centuries with each heartbeat of nuclear fire. A comet loops through its long, cold dance, each swing round the sun a frozen tick. Even galaxies spin like vast, silent gears, wheels within wheels turning ages into moments. And yet, tonight, you wonder, if time stops for you, does it stop for them, too? You feel your eyelids grow heavy as you drift through this thought. A soft trust in the idea that maybe time is not a master, but a guest. Maybe it visits you for a while, marks your skin with laughter lines, drapes your hair with silver, but it cannot own you completely. Maybe when you lie this still, you remind it who is truly in charge. The second hand hesitates. Your breath deepens. You think of all the small moments you've carried without knowing the warmth of sunlight on a closed eye, the hush of rain on rooftops, the way a friend's voice can fold an hour in half. So much time hidden inside the ordinary, waiting to be seen when seconds lose their grip. You drift further into this soft, unfolding quiet. If you could touch the edge of a second, would it feel like silk or stone? Would it shatter or stretch? Somewhere deep in the hush, you feel the answer. A second is neither thing nor place, only a bridge your mind builds between what was and what comes next. Tonight, you stand still in the middle of that bridge and look down into the still water below. You wonder what holds the bridge together. Gravity, motion, memory, all working to keep you moving forward. Yet here, in this breath, they rest. The world does not fall apart when seconds slip away. It simply waits with you, content to be unfinished for a moment more. Your thoughts drift to tomorrow, but tomorrow feels far away, a distant shore hidden behind a curtain of mist. Tonight, there is no urgency to arrive. You lie here, a small island in the slow sea of now. No bells ring, no clocks chime, just the soft hush of your pulse, stretching wide as a quiet field. You feel how delicate your own sense of time is, how it lives in your heartbeat, your steps, your sleep. Without it, you are not lost, but free. You imagine your body like a star adrift between seconds, unanchored by ticking minutes, drifting toward a place where each moment lingers as long as you wish. You wonder, just for a moment, what hidden shape time might have when you stop watching it move. Does it curl into spirals like a nautilus shell? Does it branch like the limbs of a tree? You picture each second as a leaf, trembling in a wind that only blows because you breathe. If you hold your breath, perhaps the leaves hold still too. And so, in this hush where seconds lose their way, you find a gentle comfort. You are not your minutes, your hours, your days. You are the quiet space that holds them all. And if you let them slip through your open hands tonight, they do not vanish. They rest beside you, patient, until you wish to gather them up again. You drift deeper into that hush, feeling your mind reach out to touch this hidden shape. It does not stretch ahead like a road or behind like a trail. Instead, it wraps around you, gentle as a blanket, coiling through your thoughts like a soft spiral. Each heartbeat tugs at its threads, weaving yesterday into now and now into what waits just beyond your next breath. You lie so still that you begin to sense time as something pliable, almost warm, not a rigid line to be chased, but a river that loops and folds into secret pools. You picture it gliding around rocks of memory, circling islands of dreams you thought you'd left behind. If you close your eyes, you can almost see it shimmer, like moonlight sliding across water that never truly stands still in the world. You know, time feels like an arrow, always moving forward, always pulling you toward the next sunrise. Yet here, in this quiet space between waking and sleep, you wonder if that arrow is only a story your mind tells to keep the days in order. Nature holds hints that time may be more like a circle than a line. Somewhere deep in your mind, you drift through the way seasons return. Spring curls back into summer, summer into autumn, autumn into the hush of winter, and then, impossibly, green returns again. The earth spins and spins, each dawn echoing the last, each dusk promising another. Even your own body follows loops, breath in, breath out, heartbeat, heartbeat, sleep and waking, sleep and waking. If you look closer, you find these loops. Everywhere, electrons circle the hearts of atoms. Planets dance around suns. Galaxies spin like vast pinwheels, their stars trailing arms that swirl through eons. Time hides inside these spirals, whispering that maybe forward and backward are not the only directions. Maybe you were already traveling in a loop you can't quite see. Your mind drifts to Einstein, who once showed the world that time can bend and stretch, folding around gravity like silk around a stone. Massive things, planets, stars, black holes, do not just float in space. They press into the fabric of space-time, tugging at seconds, slowing minutes, curving hours. Clocks tick differently on mountaintops than they do in valleys. Time slips and slides, refusing to stay straight when the universe leans against it. You imagine yourself drifting near a massive star. Its weight pulls, not just at your body, but at your moments, stretching them into long threads. A second near its surface lasts longer than the same second far away. You could stand close and watch a friend drift by at a distance, their moments racing while yours linger. The shape of time is not flat here. It ripples and curls in invisible waves. Inside your own mind, you feel this gentle stretch. A memory from years ago slips forward, uninvited. A hope for tomorrow nudges against it. Here, in the quiet, they touch, folding the edges of past and future into each other. You rest in that fold, a soft crease where time feels less like a chase, and more like a cocoon. What if you could see all your moments at once? Not stacked in a line, but wrapped around you like rings inside a tree, each year, each hour, etched into invisible bark. Would you find comfort in knowing that nothing is ever truly lost, only hidden beneath layers of now? Would you touch the past with your fingertips, press your cheek to tomorrow, and know they were both humming softly inside you? In the hush, you think of wormholes, tiny tunnels that could, in theory, stitch distant parts of space and time together. Some say they might be shortcuts through the fabric that binds everything. If you found one in your dreams, would you slip through to meet an old memory waiting in a garden you once loved? Or peek ahead at a moment not yet born, watching it breathe before it finds you? You rest inside this thought, safe inside the secret that maybe time is not a tyrant, but a spiral staircase you can climb in any direction. Each step you take is not wasted. It circles back, connects, overlaps. You are never far from where you began. You carry it inside you like a hidden map. Your breath deepens. You feel the hush press against your skin like warm night air. Your heartbeat steadies, marking the rhythm of this hidden shape. Somewhere, the old story of the arrow melts away. Here, you find a gentler truth. Time loops through you, not just past you. It braids your memories, your dreams, your hopes into one slow, drifting current. As you drift at the edge of sleep, you sense how moments fold into each other when you stop counting them. You are not stuck on a line, but resting in a spiral that opens in all directions at once. You imagine drifting forever in this gentle coil, never lost, always held by the shape you could not see until you lay this still. Your heartbeat echoes this thought, a quiet ticking inside the hush. You lie still and listen to it, steady, faithful, marking time in a language older than any clock on your wall. Each beat reminds you that your body keeps its own hidden time, a secret metronome guiding every cell, every breath, every drifting. Dream. You imagine the smallest parts of you, tiny engines, worry in the dark, gears made of proteins and pulses turning without pause. Deep in your chest, your heart folds and unfolds, a soft machine pushing life forward with each contraction. Blood moves like trains through winding tunnels, each red cell carrying a measure of borrowed time to every corner of your skin. You think of your lungs, two twin bellows rising and falling, swelling with invisible seconds. Each breath you draw is more than air. It is an agreement with time itself, a promise that your body will keep moving, keep exchanging, keep humming along the hidden rails of its own rhythm. You hardly notice this music until you lie here, quiet enough to hear it. Somewhere beneath your ribs, billions of cells divide. Each split, each duplicate, is timed to perfection. Microscopic clocks live inside them, tiny strands of DNA that wear down, shorten, count the passages of your days. Telomeres, they're called, protective ends that fray each time a cell. copies itself, like the plastic tip of a shoelace wearing thin. A gentle reminder that every tick of your heart echoes in your very cells. You drift to the deeper clocks, the ones you do not feel but carry nonetheless. Hormones that surge and fade in gentle cycles. Temperatures that rise and fall with the sun and the shadows. Sleep that pulls you under, then lifts you back toward waking. Circadian rhythms, a name scientists give this daily dance, turn you into a living clock tower. Chimes hidden beneath skin and bone. Outside, the world measures time in sunrises and calendars, but your body trusts older rhythms. Plants know them too, opening leaves at dawn, closing petals at dusk. In forests and fields, life hums to a pulse that needs no watch. You are part of this, whether you notice or not. Your blood feels the tug of moonlight. Your bones remember sunlight warming them. Somewhere inside you, chemical messengers drift through your veins like tiny couriers, passing instructions from cell to cell. Sleep now, wake now, grow now, rest now. This is your body's quiet language of time, molecules dancing, binding, releasing. Like notes in a song, only your cells can hear. And so you rest here, inside this clockwork universe of flesh and thought. You feel the strange comfort of knowing that even when your mind wanders or worries, your body remembers its music. Your heart keeps drumming, your lungs keep lifting, your cells keep tending to their hidden work. Time passes in you, not just around you. You wonder, just for a moment, what happens if the music stops? If a single cell miscounts its steps, if the tiny gears slip out of sync. Sometimes they do. A heartbeat stutters, a breath catches, a signal fades. Illness is often a rhythm gone wrong, a note played too soon or too late. But for now, in this gentle hush, your own song plays on. You think of ancient philosophers who wondered if the universe itself is a giant clock. Its stars and planets gears turning in endless cycles. You smile at the thought that your body is a smaller version of this, a pocket watch hidden in a coat pocket, ticking softly against your ribs. As you lie in the dark, you trust this inner machinery. You feel its hum lull you toward sleep. Outside, clocks on walls may tick loud and sharp, but inside you, time moves like a tide, rising, falling, returning. Your pulse is an ocean of seconds, each wave a promise that life flows on. Even in the deepest night, you breathe in. Your body answers with a quiet nod, lungs expanding, ribs parting, air slipping into blood. You breathe out, muscles loosen, heartbeat slows. In this small exchange, you sense a truth. Your body's time is not only about counting down, but about holding on to warmth, to breath, to the hush that wraps you now. You rest here, nestled in your own clockwork universe, tiny gears and turning cogs working while you drift. The seconds outside may lose their way, but inside you the rhythm stays faithful, drumming you toward dreams yet to come. You listen. You lean deeper into that hidden meadow where the drumming stops for a breath's width and the world forgets to move. One heartbeat fades into a hush, and in that hush you sense a door, not to a place, but to a feeling that time itself might be willing to rest alongside you. You notice how soft the pause is, how icily overlooked, in every cycle of your chest. There's that tender moment when your heart is neither pushing nor pulling, neither speaking nor silent, simply waiting. You wonder if this is where the minutes loosen their grip, if in that blink between beats, the clock surrenders its hold just enough for you to drift free. You imagine this stillness as a meadow at dawn, heavy with dew that clings to your ankles. The grass bends under your steps, but rises again behind you. Birds do not yet sing. The sky holds its color like a secret, waiting for light to stir it awake. You stand in the middle, alone with your pulse, your chest quiet, your breath drifting in slow ribbons. Here, in this small clearing inside your body, time folds its wings. Science calls this pause a refractory moment, a tiny breath your heart takes for itself, a promise of rest before the next push. This hush keeps you alive. It prevents chaos. In your blood, it grants each cell a moment to gather what it needs. Without the pause, the rhythm would shatter. A drum struck too hard, too often, until it breaks. And so your heart's stillness is not emptiness, but possibility. It is the calm between the tides, the quiet between the words of a song. It reminds you that rest is not a waste, but the very shape of life's endurance. You let your thoughts wander to the spaces between other beats, the gaps that hold the universe together. Between each tick of an atomic clock, electrons leap, yet linger. Between each wave of light, there is darkness that makes the glow stand out. Even in deep space, between the swirl of galaxies, vast stretches of nothing cradle everything that is. You feel comfort in knowing the universe breathes like you do. Expansion, pause, contraction, pause. A star pulses, a black hole hums in. Gravitational waves, a planet wobbles in its orbit, and always. There is that quiet moment when motion hovers at its peak before tipping into what comes next. You wonder what it would mean to live forever in this hidden interval, this meadow, between heartbeats. No age pressing on your bones, no tomorrows sliding toward you, no yesterdays slipping away, just now stretching wide as an endless field. You stand there, arms open, listening to the silence that is never truly silent. Would you grow restless there, or would you find that this pause is large enough to hold every wish you've ever folded into your pillow at night? Here time is soft clay in your hands. It neither advances nor retreats. It waits, patient as dusk, wrapped around your still chest. In this hush, you remember how moments of real stillness visit you even when you are busy. The pause when you look up from your work and see a bird land on your window. The hush when you wake at midnight, the room around you breathing softly, the world not yet calling you back. The moment someone you love takes your hand, and for a heartbeat you forget what the clock demands. These tiny silences shape you. They soften your sharp edges, smooth the hard lines of the day. They remind you that your heart does not race forever. Even when you run, when you worry, when you chase inside you, the pause returns. Gentle and loyal. You drift deeper into this thought. Perhaps you are not measured by how many beats you gather, but by how gently you rest in the space between them. The stillness teaches you patience. It teaches you trust, that when you surrender to the pause, the next beat always finds you again. In this meadow, you feel your breath slip slower. You lie in the tall grass of your mind, listening to the wind move through your ribs. There is no hurry to stand, no reason to run. If the next beat takes a little longer to arrive, you do not fear its lateness. The longer the pause, the larger the meadow. The larger the meadow, the softer the passage of time. You wonder if the universe itself holds its breath. Sometimes if a galaxy ever pauses between revolutions, if a particle ever hesitates before choosing its path, maybe this hush is not yours alone, but a secret all things share. The need to rest before moving on. You imagine that if you could live forever in this space, you would see your memories gather around you like gentle deer at the edge of a clearing. They do not run away. They stay calm and unafraid, grazing on the edges of your mind. You reach out to touch them, and they do not vanish. They simply stand with you, the past and the present together, unbroken. Your heartbeat returns, a soft drum pulling you back. The pause cannot hold you forever, but it does not need to. It only needs to remind you that in every cycle there is a choice, to rush or to rest, to chase or to pause. Tonight you choose the hush dot. You wonder where it goes when it slips away, this quiet stream of moments drifting past your fingertips. Lying in that meadow of pause, you imagine what it would feel like if time turned back to meet you, folding the grass smooth again under your weight. Unspilling the air you breathed, you drift through the thought of backward rivers and unbroken teacups. A plate falls from a counter and shatters into memory. But in your mind, the shards pull together, cracks sealing with a sigh, and the plate lifts gently back to your hands. Melting ice cubes gather themselves into cold, perfect shapes again, untouched by warmth, untouched by touch. This is not how your waking world works. Around you, everything you know follows the same silent rule. Time slides forward, never back. A candle burns down, never up. Ashes do not turn into logs. You grow older by heartbeats and sunrises that never repeat themselves the same way. Science calls this the arrow of time, a path that points ahead, written into the fabric of the universe by a soft, relentless whisper called entropy. Entropy is the reason that warmth drifts away, that rooms grow dusty, that footprints sink into fresh snow but never rise out again. It is the quiet truth that order loves to dissolve into chaos. Like sugar swirling away in tea, you think about how every heartbeat is a small act of keeping order. Your cells burn energy to keep your blood warm, your thoughts clear. Without this hidden effort, the neat arrangement of your body would drift apart into stillness, your warmth dissolving into the cool air around you. Life itself is a dance against the flow, a small rebellion against the natural slide into disorder. Outside your window, in the great quiet of the universe, stars live and die by this same rule. A young star fuses hydrogen into helium, pouring energy out into the dark, warmth flowing from core to sky until the fuel fades. Then, in a final bright bloom or soft drift, it lets go. No star gathers its ashes back into itself. No warmth flows backward. Yet in the smallest places, the invisible places, time plays tricks. Particles can dance forward and backward in the equations that describe them. A photon, a speck of light, can be traced backward as easily as forward in a scientist's chalkboard dream. In these hidden places, the past and future can look like twins, mirroring each other perfectly. So you lie here and wonder, if the tiniest threads of the universe can move both ways, why can't you? Why do you never wake to find yourself unblowing birthday candles, unwrapping gifts into shiny paper, stepping backward into a younger body? Maybe the answer lies in the way your memories cling to you. Your mind is a collector of stories told in order, one sunrise, then the next, then the next. Your thoughts build paths like footprints in sand, and to turn them backward would be to scatter every step you've made. And maybe there is comfort in this forward pull. If time could drift backward, your secrets might unsay themselves. Your laughter might unsound. Your love might unmake itself. Perhaps the beauty of your life is that it carries you forward, letting you build your moments one upon the other, like soft stones laid across a stream. Still, you drift through the question. Could time forget its path? Could the arrow bend like the meadow you just left behind? Some scientists imagine vast cosmic loops where time might one day circle back on itself. Entire universes, rising, expanding, fading, then folding inward to begin again. Not the same, but echoes returning in new shapes. You picture this great cycle as a breath, the universe inhaling stars, exhaling galaxies, then pausing in a hush before the next breath begins. If that is true, then maybe your own forward path is not a straight road but part of some grand loop hidden beyond your sight. You rest in this thought. Forward is not the enemy of stillness, but its partner. Without the flow ahead, there would be no place for pauses, no place for the hush you love so deeply. The arrow makes the meadow precious, because you know it cannot hold you forever. Tonight, you let this truth drift around you like soft mist. Time only moves forward because the world prefers stories to circles, warmth to cold, memory to erasure. The teacup breaks, the candle burns, the breath leaves your lungs to make space for the next. Forward is where your next heartbeat lives. Forward is where your next dream waits. You drift closer to that thought, feeling its weight settle around you like a warm, heavy blanket. Time, you realize, is not always quicksilver slipping through your fingers. Sometimes it thickens, pools, gathers itself into a quiet lake you can wade through slowly. You picture a second like a pebble in your palm, smooth and small. But when you press it to your mind, you feel its true heft, heavier than mountains when pressed down by gravity's invisible hand. You lie still and feel your own weight pinning you to your bed, the gentle pull that keeps you anchored to earth. It's easy to forget that this same force shapes time itself. Einstein once showed the world how space and time are braided together like strands of silk. One cannot bend without tugging the other. Mass gathers space around it like fabric drawn tight around a stone. And where space curves, time must lean to. You drift into the thought of standing near a massive mountain. Your feet rest on solid rock, but above and around you, the seconds slow by tiny fractions. Time pulls around the mountain's bulk, running thicker than it does high in the sky. If you could hover far above yourself and watch, you would see your moments stretch out, each heartbeat a little longer, each thought a little slower. You wander deeper. Imagine now that the mountain is not just a mountain, but something far heavier. A star collapsed under its own weight, squeezed tight until even light must bend around it. A black hole, gravity so strong it swallows not just matter, but the very moments that cling to matter's edges. You drift closer to the lip of this darkness in your mind. At the event horizon, time slows to a syrupy crawl. A falling clock would seem to freeze for any distant watcher, its final tick hanging suspended in an endless moment. But for the clock itself, and for you, if you were drifting alongside, time feels normal. 1 second follows another, steady as breath. It's only from afar that the illusion appears. The clock stuck forever at the edge, the light from its face stretched thin, softer, redder, until it vanishes altogether. Here, gravity eats hours whole, stretching them, smearing them across space until they fade into the black. You imagine yourself standing near this edge, feeling how a second could taste, rich and heavy on your tongue, sweet and slow like warm honey. In this place, you could live out your entire life while the rest of the universe races ahead. From your perspective, you drift through soft days while outside, stars are born and die and whole galaxies bloom and fade. This is gravity's secret gift. It does not just hold you down, it holds time too, cradles it in curved space. It makes a second near Earth's core thicker than one drifting high among the clouds. Astronauts, skimming above the atmosphere, age a whisper faster than you lying here in your bed. You let this thought settle into your ribs, how the weight of your own body tugs time close just a little. You feel the blanket's gentle press, the softness of your mattress shaping to you, gravity's hush holding you steady. Beneath your pillow, the Earth's core hums with molten iron, heavier than mountains, slowing your seconds by the smallest fraction, unnoticed but real. You wonder if you could taste time more fully if you floated free of gravity's hand, drifting alone in open space, far from planets or stars. There, the seconds would slip past with nothing to hold them. Clocks would tick, unanchored, faster than they do on Earth. Each moment a feather drifting in zero weight. Yet you are not drifting, you are here, grounded by your own body's small gravity, by Earth's ancient pull. This weight does not trap you. It shapes your time, makes each moment full enough to feel, heavy enough to matter. You drift further, imagining the singularity at the heart of the black hole, a place where gravity pulls so hard that all the rules fall apart. Their time does not simply slow, it folds in on itself, a knot tied so tight no seconds can slip through. To fall inside is to vanish from tomorrow, to linger forever in a single instant no one outside can see. You wonder, softly, if the universe keeps secrets in these knots, places where the past and future are squeezed so close they touch. Maybe inside that hush, all your moments wait together, childhood laughter brushing against a distant goodbye, your first breath meeting your last, all cradled by gravity's unseen hand. And then you drift back from the edge. You return to your own weight, this bed, this room, this heartbeat pressing seconds out, one by one. You feel how gravity and time cradle you here, as surely as they cradle black holes and mountains. Heavy as stone, light as a sigh. You rest inside this thought, that every second you live has its own shape and weight, pressed soft by the gravity you carry inside you. Even now, your breath pushes against the pull of Earth, a quiet rebellion that lets you float through dreams without drifting away. Light bends, and so does your mind, soft and restless as you drift toward sleep's far edge. You lie wrapped in blankets while your thoughts slip loose, moving faster than any photon, weaving trails that no clock can catch. In waking life, light races at the universe's limit, but in dreams you move even quicker. Here, in this hush, behind your eyelids, you can cross years in a breath, fly from childhood doorsteps to impossible futures in the blink of an eye. You drift through a hidden country where time forgets its lines and loops instead into soft meadows, endless corridors. Sudden flight sleep is your gentle ship, carrying you past ticking walls into timeless fields. Your body stays tethered, heartbeat steady, lungs rising and falling like slow waves, but your mind slips its anchor, unbothered by the hands of your bedside clock. Scientists say dreams are stitched from bits of memory, fragments of feeling, the brain's quiet sorting of the day's untidy pieces. But lying here, you know better. You know dreams are more than neurons firing. They are tiny rebellions, pockets of freedom where your seconds lose their weight. Think of those nights when you close your eyes for what feels like an hour, only to wake and see dawn's light after what your mind swears was days of wandering. You dream of old streets, strange cities, people long gone or never met, each scene longer than the hours your pillow grants you in this drifting realm. Your mind plays tricks, rewinding moments, repeating places, skipping to new scenes, like pages turned by a breeze. A door becomes a tunnel, a house becomes a forest, a goodbye becomes a reunion. Time in dreams has no arrow, no gravity to tug it down. You wonder what your brain does with all these bent seconds. Deep inside your skull, tiny clusters of cells send signals in electric whispers, weaving memories from floating shadows. Your eyes flicker beneath closed lids, a quiet dance scientists call REM, rapid eye movement, proof that your mind is busy exploring. To you, it feels real enough. You run, you fall, you fly, you hear voices echoing like old songs in empty rooms. And always, time drifts like mist, thick one moment, gone the next. Some say dreaming is practice for waking life, a safe stage where your mind tests ideas, solves puzzles, soothes hidden fears. Others think dreams are your brain's way of clearing clutter, sweeping away the day's noise so you can wake lighter. Whatever they are, you know how they make you feel. Unanchored, untethered, free from clocks and calendars. Here, a second can bloom into an entire story. Here, the sun can rise and set 1,000 times in a single breath. If you listen closely, you might hear your inner clocks pause to watch patient witnesses as your mind outruns them with ease. There is comfort in knowing your body honors both truths, the waking world with its tick and tock, and this secret place where hours blur and slip like water between your fingers. The same heart that marks your days with careful beats grants you this quiet permission to drift beyond its rhythm. Sometimes you wake with the taste of dreams still on your tongue, a place you can almost name, a voice you can almost remember. But like a mirage, the edges fade when morning's light pushes in. Time reclaims you, gently but surely. You open your eyes, stretch your limbs, feel the soft tug of gravity again. Yet some part of you knows that the drifting never truly stops, even awake. A piece of you carries the secret of these timeless fields, the hidden meadows where seconds stretch and fold, where memory and imagination share a cup of tea and laugh at the clocks. Tonight, you lie here once more, ready to drift. You trust your mind to carry you where hours loosen their grip. You trust that sleep will cradle you in stories bigger than any waking day. You wonder, just before you slip under, if dreams are your body's way of reminding you that time is not always what it seems, that within you lives a place where seconds can stand still, or race ahead, or curl back on themselves, like light bending under gravity's hush. You wonder what lies beyond the clocks you leave behind, and your mind drifts, weightless, all the way back to where no clock has ever ticked. Back to the hush before the first heartbeat of the universe. In this drifting dark, you imagine the beginning, a single spark blooming out of nowhere, everywhere. A burst so sudden and bright it left behind more than just matter and light. It breathed time into being, unspooling seconds like threads from an invisible loom. You float at the edge of this thought, peering into that moment when nothing held shape yet, when the entire future waited inside one single, trembling instant. Scientists call it the Big Bang, but bang is too loud for what you feel here in your mind's quiet meadow. Here, it is more like a breath held and then released, an unfolding rather than an explosion. You picture it as a small seed cracking open in darkness, spilling space and time in every direction. A tiny echo that never stopped moving. Even now, billions of years later, the universe still carries that first second in its bones, in every drifting galaxy, every atom in your lungs, every heartbeat that counts your nights. Long after the echo faded from human ears, it left fingerprints in the sky, a soft afterglow called the cosmic microwave background. It hums through the night above you, through the walls of your room, through your bones, a quiet ghost of warmth left behind. By that first unfolding, when you stare into the stars on a clear night, you see the past drifting toward you, light that began its journey before your ancestors took their first breath. Some starlight comes from when the universe was young, when the echoes were louder, clearer, when galaxies were new, and dust was gathering itself into stars that would one day build you. You drift deeper into this thought, that every second you know, every tick of your clock, is stitched from that first second's fabric. The flow of time is not separate from you. It hums in your cells, it rings in your DNA, which remembers explosions and collisions and cooling gases that settled into something calm enough for life to bloom. Time feels steady now, like a river, moving forward, but if you could stand outside it, you might hear it differently. You might feel its ripples, the way that first echo still rattles the edges of galaxies, the way black holes and expanding space stretch that old song thin. Scientists say the universe is still growing faster, wider, carrying the echo further than your mind can truly hold. But there are whispers of what lies ahead too. Some dream that this stretch will slow, that the universe might stop expanding, sigh inward, collapse into itself, a soft hush, folding time back into the silence it came from. And if that were true, you wonder, would the echoes stop too? Or would they linger somewhere outside the edges? A ghost chorus humming long after the last star flickers out. You picture this hush like a breath you hold in your chest, the pause before your next inhale. If the universe could pause like that, would it dream? Would it remember every planet and galaxy it once carried? Would it dream you back into being, your heartbeat returning to the fabric of the first second? In this drifting moment, you realize that every pause in your life is an echo to a tiny reflection of that ancient hush. The quiet before your first cry, the silence between words when someone waits to say I love you, the soft stillness when you wake before dawn and feel your breath connect you to something older than your bones. You float there, sensing how you carry the echo inside you in the atoms that once danced as stardust, in the warmth of your body, in the pulse that counts your seconds like a quiet metronome. Each beat is a promise that time keeps moving because it remembers where it began, tonight. You rest in this thought. You are not separate from time's river. You are a drop of it, shaped by its flow, singing with its first sound, even if clocks stop and seconds pause. The memory of that first spark hums on in the deep hush of your cells. Maybe that's what dreaming is, a way for your mind to slip closer to the echo, to taste what it felt like when time was newborn and the future was wide and endless and soft as your breath is now. You feel this truth settle, warm in your chest. You are old as the universe, new as this moment, both at once. The first second never really left. It hums in you, it hums in the stars. It hums in the spaces between heartbeats where you wait for what comes next. You wonder if the universe could ever pause to breathe, one long exhale that quiets the stars and stills the restless drift of galaxies. You let this thought settle over you like soft snowfall, each flake a moment that no longer needs to move. You picture the cosmos as it is now, expanding outward like a vast dark sea whose tides never rest. Stars spin in spirals, clusters scatter. Across invisible threads of gravity, everywhere, light travels, always leaving, always arriving, never stopping to rest. But you drift deeper into the idea of what happens when motion grows tired. You imagine the far, far future, when the last bright suns sputter and fade, when galaxies drift so far apart they forget each other's names. A night so deep that no new stars kindle to break the hush. Scientists call it heat death, a strange name for a universe that will be cold beyond imagining. Heat death means balance, but not the warm balance you know in your body. It means all warmth is spent, spread thin like breath in a vast, empty room. It means no spark left to light new fires, no fresh echoes to carry on the story. You drift through this quiet future, letting it unfold in your mind. The last red dwarfs flicker like embers, then wink out. Planets circle dead suns, silent stones lost in black seas. Black holes gulp their final meals, then evaporate slowly, sighing their energy back into the void, drop by drop, dot. And in this endless dusk, even the tiniest warmth spreads so wide that nothing new can gather itself together. The dance stops. The river of time flows on, but with nothing left to push it forward. It feels like standing water, still and cold. You imagine yourself there, a ghost drifting through this starless night. No ticking clocks, no heartbeat, but your own memory of one. You reach out a hand, touch the empty air. Would you find comfort here, where there is no tomorrow to wait for, no yesterday to recall? Maybe in this hush, you'd discover a different kind of warmth, not from the sun on your face, but from the soft knowing that nothing more is demanded of you. The universe has exhaled all it can. There is no rush left, no gravity-tugging moments. Apart. You listen for what silence sounds like when no light travels to break it. No bird song, no wind through trees, only the hush of matter so spread that it hardly remembers what it felt like to be a star, a planet, a body breathing in the dark. Yet, even in this chill, you wonder if the universe hides tiny fires, particles that flicker here and there, quantum sparks that refuse to lie still. Maybe deep inside blackness, there are seeds waiting for the next breath, a new unfolding, a fresh crackle of warmth that gathers itself out of the hush. Some dreamers imagine that this stillness is not truly the end, but a pause between heartbeats, that someday all the energy stretched thin will find its way back together, gathering in secret until a new spark blooms from the dark. A new bang, a new river of time pouring forward once more. You drift through this vision gently, feeling your own breath measure out its tiny warmth in the vast cold. You sense how your body is a bright pocket of order, defying the universe's quiet slide towards silence. Every heartbeat is your rebellion against the freeze, your proof that motion still matters here. Inside your small world of blankets and dreams, in this moment you feel the pull of sleep, your mind folding itself into rest like a star curling inward at the end of its shine. Your heartbeat slows but does not stop. Your breath drifts in and out like a soft tide, carrying warmth where the universe would forget it. Maybe you are the universe's way of keeping time alive a little longer, a tiny sun burning softly under a comforter, dreaming the cosmos warm again from the inside out. Maybe every thought you have is a match struck in the dark, a flare of light that whispers, not yet the end, not yet the final hush. You rest in this thought that you are both part of this endless night and a small promise of heat. that even when galaxies drift apart and silence presses close, you carry within you a spark older than stars, waiting for the next moment to bloom. Somewhere in this pause, you sense that the universe does breathe, slow, patient, deeper than any clock can measure. And maybe this breath will gather again one day, curling warmth back into a new beginning, a fresh unfolding, a spark that sings the story forward once more. You wonder what shape time might take when the hush lifts and your thoughts drift to a place where the hush never lifts at all, a world sealed tight as a snow globe, where seconds freeze in mid-air like falling flakes that never reach the ground. Inside this glassy hush, you imagine yourself moving through a landscape that never changes. The trees stay heavy with frost that never melts. The rivers lie still under clear ice that never cracks. Clouds gather but do not drift. The sun, if it shows its face, hangs on the same horizon forever, an endless dawn that neither fades nor brightens. In this frozen forever, your breath leaves your mouth in a soft cloud, but the cloud doesn't dissolve. It lingers before you, a faint reminder of motion that cannot finish its dance. You lift your hand to touch it, but your hand, too, hangs in its gesture, halfway to warmth, halfway to memory. You drift deeper into this vision, letting it settle around you like the hush of first snow. You think about what it would mean to live in a world that cannot age, a place where your heartbeat pauses between beats and forgets which comes next. Your skin never wrinkles, your bones never tire, nothing grows, nothing fades. You become part of a scene caught forever in one perfect breath. At first this forever might feel like a gift. No endings, no goodbyes, no shadows of decay. The people you love remain exactly as you hold them now, no drifting apart, Nufi now sighs. You stand in a moment that never needs to be replaced by the next. But your mind, curious and restless, presses its palms against this glass globe. It wants to know if life can truly breathe when time stands still. Can laughter bloom if it never echoes forward? Can a kiss matter if it never fades into memory? Can warmth feel warm if it never knows the chill that comes after? Science tells you that time is tied to change, that without change, energy cannot flow, and without flow, there is no life, no story. Even your cells rely on tiny clocks ticking deep inside them, driving cycles of growth and repair. Your mind weaves its dreams from the motion of molecules dancing in the dark. Stillness, absolute and perfect, would hush these secret dances to dotso. You drift through this imagined world, searching for signs of life in its cold perfection. You find frozen leaves clinging to branches that never drop them. You see your own reflection in an icy lake, unchanged year after year, your face trapped in an unblinking gaze. In the hush of this forever, you feel a quiet ache for motion, a longing for a breeze that lifts your hair, a bird that flees the branch, a single drop of water that dares to fall. You realize that endings too are part of the warmth you carry, that your heart beats because it knows how to stop, that life glows bright because it must dim. If you lived forever in a frozen world, would you wish for the tick of a clock, the rush of a season turning? Would you trade perfection for imperfection just to feel the thrill of change brushing your cheek again? You drift on this question, listening to the hush inside your mind. Somewhere within you, the same spark that bloomed in the universe's first breath still hums. It whispers that life is not carved in marble, but woven in motion and unfolding. A soft unraveling, a promise that something new is always waiting at the edge of what is. You sense that sleep itself is a small rehearsal of this truth. Each night you drift into a hush, pressing your thoughts into a quiet snowdrift, yet each dawn pulls you back, warming you awake, reminding you that your story is not meant to freeze. Even dreams must thaw into mornings so you can gather their warmth and carry it forward. In this imagined snow globe, you stand at the center of your frozen world, feeling the soft ache of wanting more than forever. You reach out your hand, pressing your palm against the clear glass. On the other side, you imagine warmth, waiting the breath of time returning, the slow melting of ice into flowing water, the hush lifting into birdsong. Would you choose to stay here in this perfect stillness, untouched by age, untouched by loss? Or would you break the glass, step barefoot into the chill of moving time, and feel the sharp joy of its passing moments brushing your skin? You rest in this wondering, your mind drifting through a forever that might never change shape. Yet deep in your chest, your heartbeat remembers its rhythm. Even as you imagine perfect stillness, your cells hum with motion. Your breath curls and fades, curls and fades. Life whispers, moves, and so you drift near sleep's gentle edge, holding this frozen world close for one last moment before you let it melt. You feel its hush soften under your ribs, becoming not a prison but a pause, a soft place to rest before the next heartbeat carries you forward. You wonder what song time might sing when the hush lifts, and in this wondering, you feel your own hidden clocks begin to hum, quiet gears turning behind your eyes, winding the film of your life forward and back, replaying sunlit summers and lost winters in a language only you can hear. Inside your mind, memories drift like drifting snowflakes, each one a frozen moment caught in the warm pocket of your brain, safe from the weathering touch of years. You touch them gently, a laugh, a smell of rain, a voice calling your name when you were small. Your brain, that secret archivist, keeps these moments alive long after the world outside has moved on. Your body holds its own clocks, too, circadian rhythms that rise and fall with the sun's soft arc, tiny molecular gears ticking inside each cell, telling them when to wake, when to rest, when to heal the wounds you gather in your waking hours. You are a forest of clocks, all keeping time together, even when the world outside forgets to tick. And then there is the clockwork in your thoughts, that strange dance of neurons sparking stories out of silence. Sometimes your mind runs ahead, racing through what-ifs and tomorrows that have not yet found your feet. Sometimes it drifts backward, replaying old goodbyes, old promises, old doors you never opened. Your memories do not follow the neat line your calendar draws. They loop and skip and echo, a film that can rewind itself whenever you wish to feel the warmth of a day long gone. Science tells you memory is not a perfect record, but a living thing. Each replay changes the reel just a little. When you remember, you rebuild. You fill in cracks with guesses and dreams. You color outside the lines. You keep the moments alive, but each telling shifts their shape. In this way, your hidden clocks do not just measure time, they weave it. They turn seconds into stories, facts into feelings, events into meaning. You drift deeper into your own mind now, feeling how these secret clocks guide your nights to dreams flicker like stray sparks from the past, shuffled with threads of tomorrow. A face you lost long ago returns in a dream, younger than you ever remembered. A place you have never been welcomes you like you belong. In sleep, your clocks abandon the neat arrow of time and spin wild circles instead. You wonder if you can trust these clocks you carry, Do they whisper truth, or only the truth you wish to hear? A scent of old perfume calls back a childhood, room that might not be real anymore. A song from the radio ties your heart to a summer that may never have been as golden as you remember. Yet you hold these fragments close, not because they are perfect, but because they are yours. They make your now softer, fuller, real. You rest in this thought that the clocks inside you are not there to trap you in the past or push you too far ahead. They keep you connected to every hour you have ever been. They remind you that you are made not only of flesh and breath, but of all your moments stacked like pages, waiting to be reread when you need their warmth. And somewhere behind all these secret gears is something more, the strange truth that your mind's clocks can bend. Neuroscientists call it time perception, how waiting for news stretches seconds into forever, how a childhood summer feels endless, how years slip by unnoticed until you see a photo and wonder where the hours have gone. Time, inside you, is softer than the clock on the wall. It stretches, loops, curls like smoke around your thoughts. You feel this now, lying still in the hush. You touch your heartbeat steady, patient. You listen to your breath, a tide measuring out your own private minutes. You drift through old seasons as easily as stepping from one room to another. Your hidden clocks let you visit places no machine can track. They let you hold a loved one's laugh just as it was, years after the sound has faded from the air. Perhaps this is your secret power, to carry a whole constellation of clocks within your mind, to rewind your story when the night feels too empty, to fast forward through worry when you need to rest, to press pause on a memory just long enough to remind yourself that you are not just moving forward, you are gathering, looping, remembering, dreaming, and when you wake, these clocks will start their soft ticking again, winding your morning with pieces of what came before. You will sip your tea and taste a memory. You will see a face in a stranger's glance that reminds you of someone you miss. You will close your eyes and drift backward, just for a moment, into a summer that still hums like a secret gear in your chest. So you rest here now, listening to the clocks you carry, not rigid tick-tocks of brass and glass, but warm pulses of story and dream. Each beat a promise that time is not just what moves you forward, but what lets you circle back and gather yourself again. You wonder what it might feel like to step off the wheel, to slip into a day that loops so gently you barely notice it, spinning. You picture waking to the same dawn, the same pale light falling through your window just so, brushing the floorboards exactly as it did the day before, and the day before that. In this loop, you know the shape of every hour before it arrives. The kettle whistles at the same moment. A bird lands on the same branch outside your window, feathers trembling in the same hush. You sip your tea, warm and familiar, tasting a morning you have tasted 1,000 times and will taste 1,000. More science calls it the eternal return, a whisper of thought as old as ancient myths, the idea that time could fold back on itself, tucking yesterday into tomorrow until there is no difference at all. A perfect orbit, like planets circling the sun, held in place by gravity's patient hand. No beginning, no end, just the same soft circle, spun smooth by repetition. You drift deeper into this imagining, letting the idea settle over you like a blanket. At first, the loop feels comforting, a world with no sharp edges, no unexpected turns. You never lose what you love, because you find it again each morning exactly where you left it. No mistakes to regret, no choices to fear. Just the safety of knowing how each hour will unfold. Yet somewhere inside you, a small question hums. If every day is the same, do you still feel its shape? Does your heartbeat quicken when you know there is no surprise waiting beyond the door? Do your dreams soften when the world refuses to change? Your mind drifts to atoms, always in motion even when your eyes cannot see their dance. Nothing in the universe truly stands still. Even the planets locked in orbit drift a little, tugged by distant stars, tiny ripples that remind them they are not alone. Nature loves a loop, but never lets it be perfect. Even your own Earth wobbles, slightly on its axis, tracing a cosmic circle that never closes quite the same way twice. Still, you linger inside this day that loops forever. You imagine the people you love, always here, always exactly as you remember them. Their laughter never ages. Their hands never slip from yours. You walk through the garden where the flowers bloom the same petals each morning, bright as if time itself forgot to wilt them. Yet even this garden holds a secret longing. Flowers push toward the sun not because they want to stay the same, but because they are reaching, always reaching, for something more than yesterday's light. Life bends toward change, even when it circles back on itself. You think of Dacia Vu, that flicker in your mind when a moment feels too familiar, like you've lived it before. A glitch, a ghost of a loop that might exist only in your brain's hidden corridors. Neuroscientists say, Deja vu happens when your memory misfires, placing the now inside the past's soft pocket. A reminder that your mind loves patterns, loves loops, but also knows how to break them. So you stand here, inside this looping day, and listen for your own longing. You feel the gentle ache for surprise, for the breeze that shifts without warning, for the cloud that drifts where it wants to drift. You realize that even as you wish for the comfort of forever, you carry a seed of restlessness inside you, a quiet promise that you are made for change. Maybe this is the paradox of being human. To dream of perfect circles, yet live in spirals that twist and climb. To love what you know, yet ache for what you do not. To find peace in repetition, but joy in a single, unexpected moment that breaks the loop and sets you free. You breathe in this thought, letting it rest behind your eyes. If tomorrow could never come, would you stay here in this warm orbit, or would you choose to open the door, step outside, and watch the day unfold into something you could not name before it arrived? The kettle hums. The bird lifts from the branch. You stand at the center of your imagined circle, listening for the soft crack in its perfect edge, a chance for the wheel to slip, just enough to let you fall forward into something new. You drift deeper into that question, letting it settle behind your eyes like the hush before dawn. If time could flow backward, would you stand still and watch it slip past? Or would you step into the current and let it carry you upstream, back to where the river first began? You imagine rivers running uphill, carrying fallen leaves back to the branches that once held them, water returning drop by drop to the clouds that gave it birth, the world breathing in its own rain, forests rethreading their lost canopies, roots unwinding from the soil. Backward is not just a direction, but a soft unraveling, a gentle gathering of what was scattered. You drift through your own life this way, tracing each moment to its source. A wrinkle smooths from your skin. A sorrow unwinds its ache. The words you spoke in anger fall back into your tongue. You watch old choices unmake themselves, doors swinging open that you once closed too soon. Regrets melt like ice in reverse, becoming soft chances again. Science holds a stubborn truth. Time's arrow points forward because of entropy. The restless slide from order to disorder, from neat beginnings to scattered endings. A broken cup never leaps whole again. A melted ice cube does not climb back into its shape. The universe loves to move forward, to spread energy thin like a whisper across cold stars. Yet some equations whisper otherwise. In the language of physics, the rules that shape particles do not mind if you flip the sign of time. Backward or forward, the math can hold true. At the scale of tiny particles, the universe does not care which way the reel spins. It is only when all those countless small pieces gather into something warm and alive, like you, that the arrow fixes its aim. You drift now into the hush of that possibility. Could time forget its promise to flow forward? Could the universe's vast machinery slip just once, letting days roll back like waves retreating from the shore? You picture an old photograph of yourself, the faded edges sharpening, the smile returning to your lips, the light in your eyes. Unwinding the years, would you visit the days you miss, the voices you ache to hear again? Would you stand in a hallway you left long ago, listening for laughter that still lives in the walls? Would you say what you did not say when the moment first asked for it, yet you sense the weight of such a dream? Backward is not gentle when held too tight. If you could truly unweave the thread, where would you stop? The day you were born, the day before that? Could you undo your own edges until there is nothing left but silence, the timeless dark before the first heartbeat stirred in your minds? Soft theatre, you drift through this backward world. Stars flicker, then gather their light, shrinking back into hot knots of potential. Galaxies wind tighter, closer, until all motion folds inward to a single seed, the echo of the Big Bang, waiting to happen again. A universe that breathes in instead of out. Scientists wonder if the universe could someday reverse its expansion, a cosmic contraction, gathering the scattered galaxies into one last hush. A big crunch, they call it, the final backward breath before all begins again or ends forever in perfect stillness. Some say time would fold with it, sliding all that ever happened into a single heartbeat of nothingness. But here, in your gentle drift, you feel something else. That backward is not about ending, but remembering. Not to undo, but to carry. The warmth of a touch, the sound of a name, the places you left pieces of yourself behind. You are not bound by physics alone. In your mind, rivers can run uphill whenever you wish. Memory is your time machine, your private reversal. You sense this now, how each backward step inside you does not change the world outside, but it changes you. You hold the past like a stone warmed by the sun, smooth in your palm, shaped by everything that flowed over it. You let it remind you where you have been, so you can choose more gently where you will go. So you rest here, in this dream of rivers and stars, entropy undone for a moment in the hush of your mind. You know that when you wake, the clock will still tick forward, your heartbeat will keep its patient pace. But for now, you drift backward with no fear, no rush, a soft traveler gathering pieces of yesterday and tucking them safely into the folds of your sleeping self. You linger here, balanced in that single second, the hush before waking, the soft seam where dream and day meet, but do not yet part. It feels like a thin thread of silk stretched between two worlds, holding you gently in place. Neither fully asleep nor fully awake, your body rests heavy against the bed, but your mind floats. You sense the weight of blankets, the warmth gathered in the hollow of your chest, the steady hum of your breath rising and falling like a tide that does not hurry to shore. All around you, The world still sleeps, trees holding their leaves in the hush. Distant streets, empty of footsteps, clocks ticking but not heard. Inside this moment, time feels softer than it ever does in daylight. You understand it not as numbers on a face or gears in a watch, but as a living, pulsing thing, a pulse you can almost touch. Your thoughts drift in circles. You remember fragments of your dream, a river flowing backward, a garden in perpetual bloom, a sky that folded itself over your head like a blanket of stars. Scientists call this fleeting bridge the state, the threshold where sleep lets you go but does not push you fully away. Here, your brain floats in a sea of drifting patterns. Your body knows how to wake but holds off, savoring the softness of this edge. You could open your eyes if you wished, but you do not. Not yet. You think about time again, how, in this second, it stretches and curls like smoke. One heartbeat can feel like a minute. A single thought can echo like a song across a canyon of memory. Your mind wanders freely, unbothered by the tidy lines of cause and effect that wait beyond your bedroom door. You remember that sleep itself is a clock, hidden in your bones. Circadian rhythms coil through your cells, telling them when to rest and when to rise. Melatonin drips like ink in your veins, darkening your inner sky. This invisible machinery ticks on, shaping your nights into cycles of drifting and dreaming, holding you close to a rhythm older than words. You listen for the promise inside this last second. What secret does it hold? Is it a seed of tomorrow, already unfolding? A whisper of gratitude for all the seconds that came before, the ones that brought you here to this soft edge? Or is it a question you carry into waking? What will you do with this day once you step over the threshold of sleep? Outside your window, the first hint of dawn glows beneath the horizon. The sun, still hidden, draws breath in the east. Somewhere, birds stir in their nests, feathers fluffed against the chill. The earth turns, whether you wake or not, an unbroken dance that never asks for your permission, yet always waits for your eyes to open and greet it again. In this final hush, you hold every heartbeat you've ever known. You feel the cradle of your mother's arms. You feel the warmth of laughter, shared over tea. You feel the touch of hands that once held yours tight when the world was too big to carry alone. All of it lives here, curled inside this 1 second, a promise that you are stitched to time in ways no clock can measure. You wonder what it means that this second is both ending and beginning, that to wake is to break the spell, yet to sleep is to trust that you will find this thread again tomorrow night. In this way, you are both the dreamer and the dreamed, the keeper of clocks and the one who forgets them. Your breath deepens. The tide inside your chest begins to shift. The edge softens beneath your weight, carrying you toward the first small stirring of morning. You know you cannot hold this second forever, but maybe you do not need to. Maybe its gift is not to be kept, but carried forward, like a quiet echo inside your waking heart. When you open your eyes, the world will greet you with light and motion, questions and tasks. You will stand up, stretch, wash your face, step outside to feel the sky touch your skin. But this second will come with you, a secret hinge between your sleeping self and the one who stands in sunlight, so you linger. Just a moment longer, breathing in the hush. You feel the promise waiting there, shaped like a wish you have not spoken yet. And you know that when you rise, you will carry this soft heartbeat forward, a reminder that even when time runs ahead of you, there is always a place where it pauses, just long enough for you to remember how to dream. Drop a like and subscribe if you want for sleepy stories. Thank you.